Hey everyone, my name is Neil Karski and I'm the CEO of Patient Engine, a seven-figure digital marketing, lead conversion, and coaching agency for high-ticket aesthetics providers. And I would like to personally welcome you to the Aesthetic Millionaires Show, where we sit down with industry entrepreneurs to talk about their personal journeys and discuss proven growth strategies. My genuine hope is that through this podcast, we can create more success stories in this industry and help more business owners scale past their competition. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome our special guest today. His name is James Jacobson. He's the co-founder of Defiant Health in Lyle, Illinois. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Neil.
How did you get into aesthetics? I don't think that was your OG background. So,
yeah. So
how'd you get into aesthetics?
My background is actually in investment banking. So how we got into the space, my sister is a full practice nurse practitioner. She was looking in the Washington state area of, should I buy a med spa or should I start my own? So when I looked at it from a business perspective, we went over hundreds of P&Ls, looked at a couple to purchase. She actually ended up buying her own. But from a business perspective, I thought, like, these are good recurring revenue models. Like, people come in on a recurring basis to get Botox, they come in for filler, they need facials, et cetera. So from a business standpoint, we got our start from looking at financials. But from there, for me, this has became really a passion project of mine. And going from being a managing partner of a registered investment advisor, which I still am, I always take like a business lens and merge that with how do we pair what we know really well about business and bringing on great providers that give a high standard of care to our patients. And what we really want is an ecosystem where they can thrive. And I think that's the genesis of this. The passion project side of it is we actually own 2 med spas. So my wife and I started Radiant Med Spa with another partner in Naperville, Illinois. That was our first one. We put in our building on the 2nd floor in downtown Naperville. That's been really successful from like a traditional med spa basis. Botox, fillers, facials, cool sculpting, all the things. Very much like women focused, I would call it. So if you came in there, or if I came in there, we'd still feel fine, but we wouldn't be as comfortable in going into like what I would call like a unisex med spa, where you have all of those things, but you also have things that are very comfortable for men, that are really geared towards optimization of performance. And as I get a little bit older, at 35, I'm like, how do I continue to optimize and perform at a high level? And how do I chase that guy who I was at 22 at 35? And the way to do that is a lot of things that are going on and very popular in our culture now. You think like a Brian Johnson and Joe Rogan. These guys are testing their labs. These guys are optimizing their testosterone. They're optimizing potentially their growth hormone. And they're looking at all of their biomarkers and tracking them. In traditional med spa space, we didn't see that there yet. And I think they're starting to turn the corner on, we can solve aesthetics, we can solve the confidence level, but we really need to start turning the corner and look at the health holistic picture of a person. And
I think the industry's going that way for sure.
Yes.
We have 200 clients in my growth marketing and coaching agency. And we have a lot of those. Mm-hmm. We're seeing like wellness places add aesthetics, aesthetics places add wellness, and I think you're spot on. What is Defiant? Like, what does that brand mean to you guys?
Defiant is a brand that was kind of born of 2 guys. The two main founders are my partner Jonathan, who's actually at a concert. He's going to see George Strait. Otherwise, he'd be here with us. But he's a corporate attorney. High performing guy. He's owned his own firm. He hasn't worked for anybody in 12 years. So just an entrepreneur through and through. Him and I merging forces in this space, it's like there's a lot of people discount the legal compliance and financial work that goes into a med spa, and our backgrounds bring all of that. So I think it's Defiant to us is something that we want for ourselves. And to stay at a high performing level, being entrepreneurs, being family men, having kids, like it gets tough. And this project is
to continue to look good and feel good, right?
Exactly. That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. I can relate too. I'm 35 as well, so
Oh, nice.
this is the age.
You're in great shape.
Thank you.
What do you do to stay in great shape?
I try to disconnect.
Yeah.
That's a big one. I live in the mountains in Blue Ridge Mountains. So I built one of those red pine barrel saunas outside. I have a cold plunge.
Love it.
So I do the whole wellness stuff. I own 3 body sculpting med spas. So I do a little EMS, RF action as a little boost. Obviously work out and stay active as well. But what we're doing in my spas is a lot of people come in for the convenience, right?
Yeah.
This is, I think, also in advertising, we're counting on, attracting and engaging folks who want the convenience aspect. And then once you establish a relationship with a provider, then you start to get into whole coaching and holistic stuff. So I know we also implement a lot of protocols for water intake, for movement, for fasting, for obvious basic nutritional advice, etc. too.
Yeah.
So I try to do as much of practice as I preach, as I'm sure.
For sure.
This is what you're kind of implementing as well with your spa.
Do you have like a community around you? Like, is there a set group of people that are around you that are focused on fitness and wellness, or is it more just you?
Oh yeah. I think the entrepreneur community for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we're always pushing each other to be better. I think that's important. So I want to do a lot more of that on a broader scale, and I'm sure this is part of the reason why you guys opened your spa as well, to be able to promote that to people who maybe don't have the education.
Yeah.
Maybe they've never really have been around a similar circle, right? They're just like, I know I have a lot of busy moms or professionals who just like, who haven't figured out the little cheats and tricks and levers to pull to get them to the next stage. So
it's almost like changing the healthcare mindset in the United States, because if you think about how much you as a business owner pay for your health insurance, how much I pay for my family's health insurance, it's like $1,500 to $2,000 a month.
Yeah, and we hope that we never use it, right?
And we typically don't, right? Like, when's the last time you went to the doctor? You can't even remember, probably.
I don't remember.
Same thing for me.
I did, I tore this collarbone joint last year, and that was the last time I was at urgent care.
Basically emergency.
Emergency, that's it.
Yeah, you break a leg or you do something like that.
That's what I think it's
emergency insurance.
Yeah.
But if we think about the optimization side of it and tracking biomarkers and looking at it from how do we optimize healthcare, our opinion is that it hasn't gotten there yet. And by helping to optimize people now with what we have available, whether it's as simple as like a GLP-1, where if you go get a GLP-1 in traditional healthcare space, you need to have potentially diabetes, you need to have a high BMI, and your access to it to get insurance to pay is difficult. In the med spa space, I think we've done a really good job of getting this out to people that, let's say you have a BMI of 30, you can do cash pay. And we've helped hundreds of people get to goal BMI just by taking GLP-1. Now, when you take a GLP-1, there's a whole set of other things that happen. It's like, okay, you're losing muscle mass now. Men don't want that. Women probably don't want that either. So how do we help fix that piece of it? Where we're different, I think, is we focus very heavily on the lab testing portion of it. We have a partnership with LabCorp. We have partnerships with Diagnostic Solutions. We have partnerships with genetics testing. And we've established all of these things to say, okay, we need to know what our biomarkers look like so that we can track our progress to our goals over time. That's a big piece of what we're doing.
So when did you guys start the first med spa in Naperville?
Radiant,
you and your wife?
Radiant opened, I want to say almost 3 years ago now. Yeah.
How's it going?
They're killing
well.
Yeah, that one's.
How did you guys grow it? Right. So a big piece of the conversation in this podcast is
marketing,
is growth and marketing and sales. And I'm a med spa owner. I've helped over 1,000 med spa owners grow, and everybody does things a little bit differently. And I've interviewed people who have like grown organically, and I'm like, a job. Like, like that takes a lot. Like, I'm a paid ads guy. Like, I put in paid ads a month before I open. So how did you guys grow that? I assume it's doing 7 figures.
Yes. How do you go from 0 to 2,000 plus patients? How does Defiant go from 0 to 700 patients in less than a year? It's really been about 6 to 7 months.
Give us the sauce.
There's 2 things. The first one is hiring great providers. We generally like to partner with experienced ones, especially as you're getting it off the ground. So I think to Radiant, they have a number of experienced
And then
RNs.
they came with their books of business. They came
with books of business.
Okay.
Right.
And like a nice social media account.
Social media. Like, hey, look, I'm going to say, I mean, we're an investment banker and a corporate attorney. If your old employer is going to hit you with a non-compete and you're a non-partner in that practice and you're just looking to earn a living and you have a better option or you're just not happy with what they're providing you, we make it very easy to come over. Like, you're not going to enforce a non-compete on our nurses. It's just not going to happen unless they own that practice, right? So we've been able to bring in the organic growth from patients coming to us, and there are patients that are very loyal to their providers. If you trust someone with Botox and you're paying a slight premium for that person because you know they're not going to drop your eyelid, if you go to someone that's like a Groupon special and they've been practicing aesthetic medicine for less than a year, you're taking a big risk, in my opinion. So I think we've been able to grow organically in that way, but you can't just rely on that. To your point, you have to spend money on paid ads. And there's a business side of this where you're looking at ROI. And if I'm going to spend $2,000 on, let's say, cool sculpting ads, or if I'm going to spend $5,000 on promoting my nurse to get her busier and bring in new patients, I'm going to do that because it's a good investment for me.
Cool. So to recap, when you guys started, I think, did your wife have a book of business at that point?
She's same as me, business side. So she has an RN partner who actually didn't start with a book of business. We brought on a couple of an MP and an RN. They had a book of business. I'm going to plug for Defiant Health on this. So Needle Ninja Carrie, she's absolutely fantastic. She was working at another med spa that was maybe 7 miles or so away from us before she came over. It had got bought out by private equity. She didn't love a lot of the changes that we're implementing. They weren't really guys that were boots on the ground helping her grow her business. She's been phenomenal in coming over to us, and I consider Carrie a great friend at this point.
Cool. Yeah, what I'm doing in my spas, because they're really boutique, 1 to 2 providers, very like small, kind of intimate, lean, very body focused. We're adding some non-invasive face stuff right now, but like
nice,
getting to a point where consultants have a higher commission tier for bringing their own business.
Yep.
And you can call it free marketing, right? It doesn't cost you anything up front, but you're incentivizing hopefully the right people in your practices to promote your brand, which is another, great marketing lever to pull, and that's what you guys did. That's the base that you built, right?
Yeah, and you build upon that because you've got a great base of aesthetic patients that are going to continue to recur, and they trust Carrie in this instance. But to be able to bring on the health side of the world and open up that avenue to where a lot of men come to our clinic where they're looking to optimize, and we can add them on as new patients. And they might have some interest in the aesthetic side, but they definitely have interest in the health side.
For sure.
So we advertise for both. I mean, we and Will actually introduced me to you to come on this podcast. So Will's avenue is Nirvana, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Defiant Health. And he heads up the e-commerce marketing. He's been wildly successful in the Amazon space. So he came on to our team to really grow that and get this out to the masses. Because if you have just a singular clinic, if you think about the capacity of a couple of providers in one clinic, you're going to get to 2 to 10,000 patients over the next 10 years, let's call it. Outside of that base, you only have, let's say, 2,000 to 5,000 square feet. You can only fit so many people at so many times into that space when you're at full capacity. Us investing in e-commerce it's not the cheapest endeavor to do, but it's something where we feel we can do telehealth coaching. We can partner with personal trainers. We could partner with nutritionists. We can be very holistic for that concierge medicine piece and make it accessible to a lot more people by going that route, right? So that's our big.
Is there a specific with this e-commerce strategy? Is there a specific angle? I know concierge medicine is a hot thing right now, but is it like, are you guys targeting weight loss to start?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing men's optimization? Like what is at least in an initial focus?
That's spot on. Those are the two main things today. So there's generally a lot of people in the United States are looking for weight loss. So that's a big segment of it.
I want to look good and I want to feel good.
Yes.
That's just the basic.
That's 100% what it is. And it's men that are looking to optimize, and let's say we're testing first. So we lean heavily on testing. And if we think about the very successful testers in the space, and I'll use Everlywell as an example, I think they actually did a great job in that market, and they blew up during COVID. They went from a couple $1 million business when they appeared on Shark Tank to a multi-billion-dollar business.
Who is this again?
Everlywell.
Yeah.
They do a great job on testing. So I think we've actually built upon that, where you can have lab draw through something like a Get Labs, concierge blood draw comes to your house or comes to your office. You're a busy professional. You're living in Manhattan. So you come to us, you're like, hey, I'm going to start with testing. Let me see what my biomarkers are, which is a low barrier to entry for those people. Let's see what our genetic testing are. Let's see what our food sensitivity. We love food sensitivity testing. John, my other partner, has a great story about that. He's a former professional lacrosse player. We're both CrossFit guys today. He's slightly older than me. He's about 3 years older than me now. So but he's very, we always compete together. But there's a period of his life just before we met and took on this endeavor where he actually took the food sensitivity test from Everlywell, and he wasn't feeling great. He was inflamed, and there's a great picture of him like with an Eggs Benedict in front of him that really tells the story. He's highly allergic to egg whites. Just by cutting egg whites out, he lost something like 30 pounds in 30 days. So people need to know, is it food? And when we've tested hundreds of people now on food sensitivity, so many people are allergic to dairy. So many people are allergic to seed oil. So many people are allergic to a number of different things that they had no idea. And just eliminating some of those foods helps optimize you very quickly. So we can test for food sensitivities. We can test for allergens. Are you allergic to a cat? Are you allergic to metals? Are you allergic to pollen? What are you allergic to? What is the environmental factors and the food factors that you don't know that we can make a meaningful difference right away? And that's a big piece of what we do.
Yeah, addressing some of the roots.
Yes.
Which is a ever-evolving conversation in America right now.
100%.
A much needed one. So the radiant space has been open for 3 years, you said.
Yep.
Defiant for a year now?
Just under a year now. Yeah.
Just under a year now. And then did you, let's just kind of go to that one for a second. So for that one, did you hire providers with existing books of business as well?
Carrie's the main aesthetic nurse in that practice. We also have Viviana on aesthetics, and she specializes in like acne clearing facials and laser hair removal and all of those traditional aesthetic things. Both of them had books of business, and we kind of grow that business around them. Will, myself, and John head up more the marketing, the business, the legal, the compliance side, and the expansion side of our business. That's kind of the team today.
Yeah. Got it. And I think Will said you guys ran some Google ads, I believe.
Yeah.
For Defiant, which has been decently successful.
Google ads are great because people are already searching for something. So, okay, let's think about...
I like this topic.
Yeah, let's think about Defiant. So from knowing what we know on our first one, we are very cognizant that SEO, Google reviews, 5-star reviews, getting to a certain point is like your first goal, right? So it's every patient, $5 Starbucks gift card if you write a review for us after your appointment. So we have 100 5-star reviews, and we've been open 8 months, right? So we focus on the review piece of it. We focus on SEO on the website, and then we supplement that with paid ads. Like, do we want to target more weight loss patients? Run a GLP-1 ad. Do we want to, and there's, by the way, as you know, it's like, it's not the easiest thing to do to get around kind of the Google medical compliance side of marketing. So you have
any platform really, yeah.
you have to create these landing pages and do all these things on the back end. So that's been a big piece of it. I think the conversion on social, Instagram, Meta, Business Suite, that's actually probably our best bang for our buck today. I don't know right off the top of my head exactly what that number is, but the conversion
GLP-1s?
GLP-1s and just general promotion of the clinic for new patients, like a new patient offer is what I would call it. How do you think about what are your best performing ads?
Well, Will and I talked about already helping you guys scale meta ads for aesthetics. But so Google versus Meta, right? Big conversation in our industry. I think if you're in a good suburban market, for example, like the city is just a mess.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many things because there's the more of you get to saturated populated areas, you got big providers coming in, right? You get your Harry's, like you get your
Confidence
Hims.
Bar, Spa Derma, Hims.
Yeah, you get all this like shit show, right? Of like overstimulation of the human mind. If you get in a market that has a good search volume, you know, in certain seasons, because everything is seasonal,
right?
In aesthetics, right? Body, February, March through September, October, maybe, and then face on the other months, right? Wellness being a little bit more consistent. But with Google, you have to, I think the intent is higher, doesn't mean they're always going to buy, right? They've searched, they're a little bit more educated, they're a little bit more aware. Lead conversion process still has to be spot on, right? Sales process still has to be spot on. I like Meta from a standpoint of like volume.
Right.
Like if you have a strong sales team who can really crush consultations, like I'm putting in Meta. Some of best performing ads. I mean, I like one of our ads was a Botox ad, right? We do, $8 to $9 a unit to start. We then pair it with like a gift card, right? My team for my agency also does our body sculpting ads for my med spas, and we pair 2 treatments and we give a crazy deal, right? $4,500 ad spend, depending on the season, 30 to 45 new clients, right? Huge ROI. So I think understanding, there's I think with Google, you really have to have the right formula. With Meta, I think you could go and like create that need, right? Or create that desire to opt in. And that starts with an offer, as you know.
Yes, definitely. Have you spent time on the targeting of men? And our experience is it's actually harder to bring men into med spa. Women still make I think the stat is 80% of healthcare decisions in a household are driven by women. So men are starting to turn that corner. And when they come, they're very loyal, but they're harder to attract for whatever reason that is.
I agree 1,000%.
Yeah.
I think so. Across our 200 client portfolio, I think maybe we run a split test for like 2 clients to target men for body sculpting because that's what they specifically requested. I think men when it comes to health wellness decisions, they take more time to make those decisions. It's a little bit different, more complex buying process.
Yeah.
So 1,000%, we go women 35 plus, right? 35 to 60.
Makes sense. So you run that target, and then how far out will your radius generally be from a med?
It really depends. It's not a radius conversation. I mean, it really depends when you're located. Do people drive? Do people not drive? Let's look at the competition. Let's look at the incomes. Every single case is custom. It's hard, right? We always talk about lead quality is a big conversation in our space, but I mostly think that if you have a good sales team, like lead quality is like, yes, if you go and put a wide radius for 50 miles, like Meta's going to give, is just going to try to get it in front of anybody, right?
Right. Yeah, the lead quality. I mean, if you do a great job on the marketing side of being able to get live people on the phone or in clinic, then it's our job to make sure that our team is closing. And we've been fortunate to have some very good providers that, as long as we get a lead in the door, those people are taken care of well enough where 80+% of the time they're buying, which is awesome. A great rate.
Yeah, I think, the way I coach my staff, and I've coached about 1,000 providers now. Like, there's so many different ways for them to buy, right? You got a treatment plan is your go-to always. A holistic treatment plan is number one, right? That may not always happen. Facial aesthetics, it usually doesn't happen on the first visit. It happens during some of the follow-ups. Body sculpting, we always try to sell the package right off the bat because we want them to get the best results.
Well, you can't just have one, right?
My 19-year-old esthetician sold she called me today. She was so happy. It was her, second package. She's in her second week of doing business. She sold a $3,000 package.
Nice.
She's like, Neil, I did it. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do 5K next,
Yeah.
So treatment plan, card on cash, trade financing, Affirm, whatever you're using.
Yeah.
Next. In-house payment plan. You could do a membership. You could cross-sell. You could schedule another visit. There's so many different ways to sell.
Right. That
if you're not selling, I would say 3 to 4 out of 10 people, like, there's a gap in the process, right?
Yeah.
How do you, and sales, you recognize sales is extremely important.
Of course.
Just because you're getting people in the door doesn't mean they're staying or buying. How did you guys initially train your staff, or did they come with certain skill set, like a consultation mastery? Because you guys have a great conversion rate. So how did that happen with you guys, especially? Because I want to kind of highlight, like, you guys don't come from the aesthetics.
Yeah.
You have interest in wellness and aesthetics, but you don't come from the space, right?
Right.
You have obviously done your research. You have a great mission in mind, but how did that come about, right? Because
I think John and I are both experienced at hiring great people. And I think we've done a great job of building a team that it's less about the sales process and it's more of a consultation. Like, when you get to the root of what are the goals that someone is looking to accomplish, whether that be facial aesthetics or whether that be health optimization, and you write a plan that goes along with those goals, you're not selling them at that point. You're just giving them a great recommendation. And when you give your best recommendation to people, that's really all you can do. You can't force people to buy or force people to do this. We could say, here's what I would say based upon your goals. If that's 4 syringes of filler, this is how expensive. Do we want to tackle all of that today, or do you want to start here? Right? So I think it's really giving the patient that plan of what is going to get them to their goal, and then give them the options without a forced sale, right? Like, you're really being consultative at that point.
Yeah, you're helping.
Right.
And salespeople are the best helpers.
And the biomarker piece is huge, because it's everybody wants to know what can help me optimize my health. If I have high cholesterol or if I have low testosterone, like, what are my options? And I'll make that plug to men. It's not changing the perception from bodybuilders take testosterone. It's really not that anymore. Brian Johnson is supplementing his testosterone. Joe Rogan is supplementing his testosterone. We need to get away from that mindset of it's just this small subset of people that are abusing steroids, right? It's not that anymore at this point. Male testosterone goes down by 1% a year over 30. And if we want to perform at a peak level, we need to test that marker. So if I come in and I still want to have kids, and I can't get on testosterone cypionate because it may shut down that production, we have options like enclomiphene, which is a daily pill that in practice, we've seen the majority of people that are on it will go from 400 testosterone to 800. And we're not shutting down the testes in that process. And things like peptides, like Somorelin, a lot of times men that we know or men that come in clinic will just come by and ask John and I, what are you guys doing? Right? And it's as simple as just walking through what your
Somorelin is crazy good.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it's a slow build, right? On Somorelin, like, you're taking For us, it's atrocious.
It's very directly correlated to other supportive efforts that you're doing.
Yes, you're just telling your pituitary gland, we need to make a little bit more growth hormone, but you're not exogenously adding HGH into your body, which can come with, these Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire. You're increasing everything when you're on HGH. But if you're taking Samoralin, you're just supplementing your body's natural growth hormone. And for us, it's 5 days a week, 2 days off. You can be on it for 6 to 9 months. You might want to take 1 to 2 months off to continue your natural production. But Samoralin it's a game changer. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of the availability of that.
Yeah. So you guys have been open for a year, and aside from the e-commerce side, what is the game plan for Defiant Health as far as like growth? So seems like you guys get your numbers down.
We do our best.
Which is because you bring the business background, right? Like I have I have clients now, and when we talk to prospects, we're like, how much, like, first of all, like, what is your monthly average monthly revenue? Like,
right.
What are your goals? Like, do you have KPIs for sales? Do you have like an average ticket that you sell? Like a lot of questions, basic questions, because that's how you drive ROI conversations. They don't have those numbers. But when you guys first started, I think this is a good question to address. Like, when did you say, hey, like, we want to hit break even, or this is when we want to start profiting, and this is when we want to hit 7-figure run rate?
Yeah.
And now, after that, what's next?
After that, what's next? I think once you get to
let's talk about those first questions, because I think that's important, and then we'll get to the what's next.
You're talking KPIs first. I mean, it's average patient appointments per day. Like if you set a goal of how many patients do each of my providers, how many should they be seeing per day, and that is your busyness factor. And your average ticket in med spa is somewhere between $500 and $600. You can easily back end into that math. We've been fortunate. We've had very experienced providers where we just look at a calendar, and Carrie will do $8,000 to $9,000 a day if she's seeing 8 to 10 people in that day. So it's almost as simple as that. And she's on with us 3 days a week, and she's been very consistent. I guess I'm giving a lot of my business numbers out, but she'll do $55,000 to $70,000 a month herself. And she's only been with us 6 months. So
amazing.
It's just a great plug for how great she is. And if you partner with the right provider, it takes some of the pressure off of thinking about the KPIs in that way, because I could break it down every which way if I need to on an Excel spreadsheet and say, hey, here's where we're at last quarter, here's where we're at last month, what are we doing? But it really, the onus comes to me as a business owner to say, it's my job to make sure that my providers are as busy as possible. And if I think about, I'm going to take a macro lens on this, Hims, multi-billion-dollar company, in a small but very growing space of health optimization. They're the largest, like something like 8 billion market cap. What do you think as a percentage of revenue, what does Hims spend on their marketing? If they bring in $2 billion, how much did they market?
I would say 20 to 30%.
Half. Spend $1 billion on marketing every single year, and they're still profitable. So this is a great, I guess, plug for the marketing side of the world is if you're not spending money on marketing, you're going to cap your growth, right? You're not going to be able to open that next clinic. You're not going to be able to open up that e-commerce arm. If you don't understand, you need to spend 20 to 25% potentially for a new clinic. That number might go down. I'd argue that the first med spa, they don't need to spend as much now because it's primarily, they get close to capacity in busy season. So you could toggle that shift a little bit in clinic. But on the e-commerce side of things, bringing in a patient on a high ticket service, that's your entire goal. And you got to spend a decent amount of marketing to get there. And then that spend, and this is the Hims model, eventually they're going to acquire so much of the market where they can toggle that 50% and it might become 40%. and that'll grow their profit and their gross margins along the way.
Yeah.
So we think about it a very similar fashion.
Yeah. I spent my biggest two expenses, as it should be, are marketing and staff.
Yeah.
Marketing staff, right?
For sure.
Because when you have good staff, you want to compensate them in
100%.
In a very healthy fashion. How fast did you get to break even?
Well, I mean, with the first clinic, it was within the first 3 months, it was profitable.
What about Defiant?
Defiant, very, very similar in clinic, 3 to 6 months in, but we spent a lot of money on e-com. So the e-com platform, if I were to segregate out both of those, I'll come back here in 6 to 12 months and I'll tell you where we're at on the e-com side.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So you guys are doing, what are you doing monthly right now?
Average monthly
In-store.
In-store, 70 to 80 in-store.
What's the goal for the next 12 months?
Break 6 figures.
Break 6 figures?
Yeah.
Oh, we got this.
Oh, easily.
Let's go.
It's nice because I've seen all these P&Ls and I know what a first year looks like. And a first year, if you're doing decently, your first couple months are going to go from 30 to 40. And then at the 6 month period, you're going to go from 40 to 75 to 80. And then in year 2, you're going to go from 80. You're going to have a month where you do 110. You're going to have a month where you do 120. And then it's the conversation of, do we need to hire another provider at that point?
Yes. If you spend money, a good amount of money on marketing, and also in your case, it was really having providers who are bought into your mission and they're bringing also their own clientele and they're promoting to their own networks.
Yes.
Because referrals are huge, right? That trickle down effect from marketing, from providers having happy clients is monumental.
Right.
Right. That's your,
for sure.
That's that long-term ROI right there, which is I'm glad you just bring this up. Like we've had some crazy conversations with people who are like, oh, I want to do 20,000, but maybe I want to put in a couple grand in ads. And I'm like, 10x ROAS. Like, have I seen it? I've seen it. Is it common? No.
Right.
It's not common. It really isn't common, especially with short-term ROI.
Mm-hmm.
Short-term ROI, I'm like, come on, you're getting 5x. You should be happy.
The onus that I would look at on like a team like yours would be, are we bringing in leads that are live? Because if you bring in a live lead in person or phone, it's on our team to do a great job. And I'll plug for Sam, our front desk. She's phenomenal. And we were kind of lucky to have her. She has like 9,000 Instagram followers herself. She does Chicago foodie things, and she's really popular in that space. But just fantastic with our patients in clinic, where if you get on the phone with Sam, or if you're in clinic with us, our rebooking rate is 85%. So you're not leaving without getting your next appointment scheduled.
That's so important. That's so important.
And that's how it, in this business, just thinking through the business side, is you don't have to have a subscriber model. It's great if you're able to accomplish that. We found that can be difficult, but it's a natural subscriber base of people that, look, your Botox wears off after 3 months. You have to schedule that next appointment if you're going to keep up with your aesthetic care.
Yeah. I'm glad you bring this up too. I think having strong front desk is important. Somebody who's bought into your business, who also maybe has some goals and KPIs, who also can potentially at least influence a sale or, like you said, book a next appointment.
Rebooking.
I know, like, from an agency side of things, like, we've been super instrumental because talking to existing patients is also talking that varies from talking to potential leads, right?
Right.
That's, those are two different conversations. So, like, I know with us, like, having a US based appointment closing team, that's when my agency like really took off, because we're like, hey, like, if we can get somebody on a calendar with a credit card and a deposit on file, we're gonna make the clinic's job a lot easier.
Yeah, that's huge. That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's been this. I would have never opened up my spas if we didn't have that, didn't have that, to be honest, because I manage all three remotely. So that's been really good. So let's go back to Radiant. What is the game plan there? Let's say very, like you said, aesthetics. Do you want to potentially morph that into some wellness as well, or do you just want to? I think what I see in the industry, and we talked about is wellness and aesthetics are merging. I think ultimately we're going to see a battle, a sales and marketing battle. I think it's going on right now. You're going to have who has the best people, who has the best sales and marketing. I think it's going to be key.
Yeah.
So because
it's a big battle because you have a number of multi-unit med spas that are doing well, and then you've had this huge proliferation of med spas. As you know, it's gone from a couple thousand to over 10,000. But a lot of that mix is maybe solo practitioners that have one single location. And it's difficult to get to scale and volume, even if you're a popular provider, because you're kind of renting a chair, right? And you're bringing some people in, you're not growing the business side of it. I think Radiant will be a very popular downtown Naperville med spa. They're already SEO ranked top 3, if not number 1 in that space. There's a few other competitors that are doing well in that market, but they've captured a great piece of it. Where the growth is for us, and where John and I are partners with Will, we see the growth in multiple Defiant locations and proving out and continue to prove out the model in Lisle, Illinois. We've got a great space. It's 5,000 square feet. Half of it is our clinic. Half of it is actually physical therapy clinic. And we work and run an investment firm and a law firm out of that same location. So that's kind of flagship home office for us. And everything on the e-commerce side is backed by what we have in clinic. Our in-house medical director is actually one of our partners in this business. Having Carrie boots on the ground, having a team of nurse practitioners and providers, and partnerships that we've already established actually with fantastic former athlete personal trainers, and just getting out there to market and hitting hard on the wellness and optimization side is going to be our go-forward goal on the growth side.
That's awesome. When do you think you'll open your second Defiant location?
Relatively soon. We have the capacity, I'd say, to do it now. I think that the e-commerce side, though, is, think about how much it costs to put up a med spa, right? Whether you do it from a corporate level, our team invests in it, or if we partner with, let's say, perhaps a franchisee, barrier entry into franchising your med spa is FDD. If you don't have a corporate attorney on team, is going to cost you close to 6 figures to do that. You're going to then become a corporate office that is making sure that you provide all the tools and training that is going to create success for that franchise med spa. And it's money, right? Like when we put together a clinic, and I live here in the Naperville area, I have contacts on the construction side. We pushed through this project. We signed the lease. This is actually a good story. We signed the lease in June. We actually got our final permits on August 22nd. So we went from lease signing to full build out, construction, equipment, decked out med spa in 3 months. So speed to execution is huge, but the capital investment, let's say non-dirt floor build, it's a space, maybe second gen space, which I think is probably the route to go. In aesthetics, you're going to spend a couple $100,000 to $300,000 on just the build out. And then you have to decide upon, what am I going to buy from equipment? What kind of laser am I going to bring in? Laser companies aren't cheap, as you know. Muscle sculpting is not cheap. Cool sculpting is not cheap. So you decide upon the equipment that you put in there. You're in for about $500,000, and you're making sure that the ROI on your spend for that specific unit level is enough to justify. And then you got to negotiate the lease. How much are you going to pay per square foot? Where is that going to be? Is it $25 a square foot in Lisle, or is it $45 to $50 a square foot in Naperville, or is it $60 a square foot in Gold Coast, Chicago? Maybe more than that, right? So thinking through the economics on the actual builds, it's not the easiest thing in the world. We'd love to put up more. We want to have some flagships in key locations like Manhattan, like Miami, like Dallas, Texas. I think those are great markets for what we're doing and can afford to have more flagship clinics. But the e-commerce side is actually, the majority of that spend is going to come from the marketing side, building out the partnerships, and just really growing the web presence. And for the amount of money that I would spend on a new clinic, you can 10x the return on investment by spending e-com.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about my model, which is pretty niche. How to scale, keep it corporate. I mean, the pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
Always opportunity, time and money, trading time and money. It's like, all right, like how much is it going to require of my time to really scale it on it from a corporate level, self-funded?
Right.
And then how do I want to open it up for external investments? Okay, that's going to come with some strings attached and some expectations, but maybe it's a way to go. And then you got your franchisees, right? Which that's a great way to scale, but it's like you really are relying on people to execute the blueprint correctly.
Yes.
Which is not easy. And people are like, oh, franchise, that's the dream. I'm like, yeah, it sure is. But like, it's like, for example, how important in this space and every service-based space is because people buy services from people, not from brands, right? It's like, Defiant, like you said, it's places so much emphasis on the people you bring in because people buy from people,
right?
Especially in things that are intimate like healthcare and wellness. So it's like hiring
your best franchise partner is going to be a popular aesthetic nurse that doesn't want to run the business side. And I think that's where in Needle Ninja Carrie, she's so fantastic from a provider standpoint. And our first interview, we just hit it off so well because she's like, I know this market. This is what I've done for the last 12 plus years. Like, I love doing this, but I have no interest in what you guys do in running a business or owning my own because it's a whole different animal. Like, you're going from being a provider to also running a business and trying to do both at the same time. To scale, it's near impossible. And the people that have figured out how to do that are both a provider and the business person, God bless them. Like, I mean, that's a fantastic thing. It's just not easy. But having those clear understandings of, hey, I'm a fantastic provider, help me with the business side, help me grow. Those people, I think, are going to be fantastic franchisees for the right business, for the right franchise.
Staffing's wild.
Yeah. It's getting competitive these days.
It's competitive. It's like, I know when we were interviewing for my new locations, I was like, I had people like cancel last minute or be late for their interviews or not show up at all. I mean, it's wild. At least, you filter those people out or they filter themselves out, right?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get into a couple fun questions here as we wrap up here. So just real quickly, off top of your head, what is one mistake that you guys made in your journey that in the future you won't make again?
Mistake in the journey that we won't make again.
I mean, you guys are crushing it, but there has to be something, right?
Well, you don't always hire the right people right off the bat. So I think it's hire slow, fire fast.
I think I've heard two of my other guests, like in the last 2 days, say the exact same thing.
Yeah, you got to keep the culture what it should be. You need to reward your top performers, and by rewarding your top performers, you can't keep underperformers on the team. It's just not fair to them. So I think whether it's a mistake or it's just continuously making sure that you're hiring the right people, I think is something.
Did you listen to the latest Hormozy episode? I think
I haven't. No, did he say that?
He said that too recently. So let's get in a couple of fun questions. What is like something you can publicly share? What is your like worst vice?
My worst vice
that you're like, I just want to.
I'm fortunate that I don't have like a very addictive personality. My wife will yell at me about. I like Zins. I smoke cigars. I guess those are two vices.
There you go. We all have something. I gotta
being in the investment world. So like I know the math on things. Like I know long-term returns and all that. And like if I didn't know the math, I would love gambling too much. But because I know that if you're playing slots, like you're at a 45%, basically you're losing every time you play slots. If you play near perfect blackjack, you're going to be within like half a point of even if you're not able to count cards. I would like to gamble if I didn't know the math that well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Not
I don't know if that's applicable to this podcast.
No, I throw a bunch of random stuff in there. Favorite travel destination?
Ooh, favorite travel destination. So we just got back, my wife and I, from a wellness resort in Playa del Carmen. It's called Hotel Palmaya, and it's fantastic. So we went there for her baby moon the first time. We went back this year for our 10-year anniversary, and this place is basically built around wellness, and it's kind of tangential to everything that we love doing. Is it's not built around the poolside drinking. Every day they have a set series of wellness events with, I won't call them providers or whatever they might be, but it's yoga in the jungle, it's mobility fitness courses, it's bikes that you could just ride and go to the gym and sit in a sauna, sit in a cold plunge. Like it's just
Don't you love Mexico? I love Mexico. I go to Tulum a lot.
Oh, awesome. So this is right by
the process of getting a condo there right now.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, we were looking at buying in Playa del Carmen now.
Yeah, do it. Couple more questions. What is your favorite non-luxury brand?
Favorite non-luxury brand? I don't know. Or On Clouds luxury? I love On Clouds. Like I love
them too.
So many of them. It helps me run faster. They're a great shoe.
One big advice for aesthetic entrepreneurs that we maybe haven't covered today, or maybe a little bit of a summary.
Have a business plan before you get into it. Really vet out that process, because everybody has a great idea. Very few people are able to execute upon a plan. So focus on execution.
Where can people find you and your brands?
Defiant Health, defianthealth.io, or defiant_health on Instagram, Nirvana Life, and that's where you can find us.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome, Neil.